It seems the Priwen are redoubling their patrols in the district. I must be more careful.
Acho que eu vou ter que fazer o transbacana pra seguir carreira. Tem que subir de nível. Senão não vai estar dando, não. Tem muita gente ali. Dá pra dar dois, pra fazer dois up, velho. Dá pra dar upar 12 skills. E o resto vai. Mas aí vai dar arma, né, mano? Custa 1000. O vampiro pode usar o poder de cima para curar danos normal ou agravado. Ah, esse é o meu bagulho. Vai ter que se garantir na porrada, né, mano? Isso que é foda. É 600. 600. 600. O que tá falando que é 300? Opa. Não tem bala. Agora tem que enfrentar os caras. Pessoas passando bricapica, mano. Quem são as pessoas que estão bricapica? Fadiga, resfriado, fadiga, resfriado, enxaqueca. Ó, resfriado e fadiga nós tem. Agora enxaqueca, uns dois morreu. Por causa disso aí. Fadiga. De quanto a fadiga? De 2. De 2. Para resfriado. Anemia. Para resfriado eu preciso de exatamente 2. De 2 também. Pneumonia, bronquite, troca garganta. Eu fiz uma seringa à toa, né? Acho que eu vou fazer a missão secundária. In the morning we share.
Good evening, Nurse Hawkins.
Good evening, Dr. Reed.
Do you need medical help yourself, Nurse?
I'm afraid I've contracted some illness, Dr. Reed.
Not under my watch, Nurse. Take this. You'll feel better.
Thank you, Dr. Reed.
Pepper, I know you're very close to Milton Hooks.
Yes? Milton Hooks is my man. If you want to report me for that, just feel free, Doctor.
I have no intention of reporting you, Nurse Hawkins. But are you aware of the risks?
The rules say I won't be allowed to work as a nurse anymore. But here at the Pembroke, we break rules all the time.
Is he worth the risk?
Hey, I'm no perfect woman, and Milton is not the finest bloke. But we do our best to get by. That's all any of us can hope for nowadays.
How would you describe the situation at the Pembroke Hospital?
It's serious.
Vazando as
The
informações
flu is
privilegiadas.
wreaking havoc amongst the staff and patients. We are running out of everything.
You must get a hold of yourself, Nurse.
Sorry, I'm exhausted. No one has any idea when this epidemic will be over.
Nurse Hawkins, the Spanish flu won't last forever. Even the Black Plague didn't kill everyone.
I wish I could believe you. But what if this epidemic was worse? What if in the end, nobody was spared?
Tá baseando em tudo em si.
How long have you been a nurse?
Well, long enough to see that the epidemic is winning. And no matter how qualified you are, don't tell me you'll change that.
I don't like your attitude, Nurse Hawkins. Pessimism can be as lethal as the epidemic in times like these.
Sorry, Doctor. I don't want to sound bitter, but I'm just too tired to give a pep talk like Nurse Brannigan.
How is the Pembroke staff coping with the epidemic?
Well, not well. Milton, the ambulance driver, is even more grumpy than usual, especially concerning doctors.
Why is Milton
O Milton
grumpy
é tão mau
on a
no
daily
moreto.
basis? Is it just an
Eu
act?
sei porque.
Milton's not the kind of man who's bothered about a bad reputation, whether he deserved it or not.
Foi pista sobre o cara.
Why does Milton dislike doctors?
I don't know. Just ask him. But be warned, Milton is not the chatty type.
Quer pista.
What can you tell me about the recent commotion in the hospital?
Everybody's afraid. Death has always been a frequent visitor. But murder? How can we cope with that?
As a nurse at this hospital, it is your duty to deal with these things as best you can.
Yeah. Until it's my turn to have blood spread all over the walls. I entered the room first, Dr. Reed. I've seen what that monster did to the woman.
É isso então.
Goodbye, Nurse Hawkins.
Fadiga. Ela tava aqui agora, quer dizer, ontem. Meteu um surgen.
What on earth happened here?
Matou a mulher e vazou, meu. Outra invadir o Delicati.
Disgust on every street corner. The daily routine.
Good evening, Nurse Hawkins.
A
Good
pipa.
evening, Dr. Reed.
Goodbye, Nurse Hawkins.
Não quero falar com a pipa, não. Ela é indecente.
Good evening, sir. I'm Dr. Reed. I believe we're going to be colleagues.
Reed? Yes, I've been informed about your arrival. I'm Waverly Ackroyd. Welcome aboard, I suppose.
Does my arrival inconvenience you in some way, Dr. Ackroyd?
Let us just say that I don't particularly share Dr. Swansea's enthusiasm for hiring you. What we need here are reliable professionals, not overrated dabblers.
What can you tell me about the recent commotion in the hospital?
Nothing like this would have happened if we'd had enough staff and proper shifts.
So you don't think the blame is ours?
We all hold fast here, Dr. Reed. Our methods may differ, but we are all trying to make a difference.
I don't know what you've heard about me, but I have already proved my value as a practitioner.
I don't question your skills, Dr. Reed, but your motive. Is it money, fame, or are you truly dedicated?
And what exactly is that supposed to mean?
I served in the war just like you. But unlike you, I did not use the wounded to play the modern sorcerer.
Be careful what you insinuate, Dr. Ackroyd.
I only want you to admit you used those men to improve your theories.
Ah, beleza. Conhecimento internacional não precisa justificar.
Knowledge has always been and will remain our main weapon, and it has always come at a price. And personal initiative.
It is not a question of initiative, it is a question of integrity. These men and women have put their faith in us, Dr. Reed.
It seems you have bad memories of your military service.
I refuse to see this industrial slaughter as scientific progress. War only reveals the worst in men.
We can at least agree on something, Dr. Ackroyd.
Ackroyd.
If you have a problem with me, Dr. Ackroyd, please feel free to tell me.
Dr. Swansea has imposed your presence on this hospital without asking anyone's advice. The benefit of his position. But I don't agree with it.
I know we've never met before, but I believe this hospital could use all the help it can get. You will agree with that, I'm sure.
Oh, but I have heard about you, Dr. Reed. Of course, you can't say the same about me, since I have not wasted my time courting the press.
There is no need for such animosity between us. Don't you think the epidemic is already enough to deal with?
That is one point we could agree on. And that is precisely why I want to be sure that you will be of help to this hospital, instead of a burden.
Since your tenure in this hospital is longer than mine, perhaps you can tell me more about this place.
Let's just say I'm tired of the carelessness around me. I have always respected the skills of Dr. Swansea, but over time his enthusiasm has become displaced.
Carelessness? Exactly what are you talking about?
We're here to save lives. The people who trust us are not volunteering for experimentation, they're here to be healed.
I don't intend to run any radical experiments, Doctor. Even if I, as any good practitioner should, express an interest in pushing the boundaries of medical research.
Modern medical methods were created through audacity and ego. But there are rules in our line of work, and they're here to protect our patients.
Thank you for your time. We'll talk later.
Ai, ai, ai.
Good evening. I'm Dr. Reed. Can I help at all?
No,
Really? Why are you here then?
I don't want to talk. My throat hurts too much.
I suppose that this pain is the reason you're here. Is someone taking care of you?
Yes. And no.
Could you at least tell me your name, sir?
Mortimer. Mortimer Goswick.
What can you tell me about the recent commotion in the hospital?
I had shouting coming from the first floor. I was asleep when it started.
Tell me
O cara
about
tá com
yourself,
dor de
Mr.
garganta, vai
Goswick.
perguntar.
I don't want to talk, Doctor.
Tô pensei, né, mano?
I have to go now, sir. But don't hesitate to contact me if you need any help.
I'm alright. Don't waste your time with me.
Reads me like a book.
Good evening, madam. Can I help you?
It's my son who needs you, sir.
I'm Dr. Jonathan Reed. How can I help your son?
I'm Beatrice Goswick, mother of Mortimer Goswick. Could you check on him, please, Dr. Reed? I've heard much of your talents as a physician.
What can you tell me about the recent commotion in the hospital?
It's a disgrace. How on earth can patients be attacked in their own rooms?
Na segurança, cadê? Merda, tô com o celular na mão, né? Requer pista pra cacete.
What do you think of your reception here? Any complaints?
I have had the uttermost reservations about this hospital since we arrived. But we had no other choice, considering the state of emergency.
Is there something in particular that's bothering you?
Some of the staff were not especially welcoming. I suspect they're not accustomed to dealing with patients of such social standing.
De alta classe.
Tell me more about your arrival at the Pembroke Hospital. What gave you such a bad first impression?
The ambulance driver was quite rude, for a start. And that nurse, Miss Hawkins, seems to have quite a dubious attitude.
What do you mean?
She managed to secure a bed for my son despite the epidemic. It was a relief, but it wasn't cheap.
She charged you for a bed?
Yes, and I paid without question, considering the urgency of the situation.
I
Puta
share
que
your
pariu.
concern, Mrs. Goswick. Be sure that I'll talk to the people involved.
I don't expect compensation, Dr. Reed. But I'm aware such behavior would not be tolerated in other hospitals.
Podem.
What can you tell me about yourself, Mrs. Goswick?
Not much to say. Just take care of my Mortimer and I'll cover all the expenses. That's all that matters.
Bilionaire.
Are you really that rich? Most of the patients here are of a more humble origin, if I may say so.
Yes, thanks to my husband. May he rest in peace. I can cover any needed medical expenses.
May I ask if you have an occupation, Mrs. Goswick?
I'm a teacher by profession. I teach young women who are more ambitious about their futures than their families.
Não, como assim então?
Goodbye, Mrs. Goswick.
My sweet girl. Reads me like a book.
Good evening, Mr. Goswick. How are you?
I'm okay.
Anemia, velho. Eu tenho esse remédio.
Do you need any help?
I'm afraid I may, sir. I don't mean to be a burden.
You are not a burden, sir. Healing you is my responsibility.
And you have my gratitude for that.
I have to go now, sir. But don't hesitate to contact me if you need any help.
Good evening, sir. Doctor.
Fadiga. 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 Eu preciso de mais dois. Preciso de 2 remédios de fadiga ainda.
My sweet girl.
I'm quite busy right now, Dr. Reed.
Do you need my assistance?
Don't be ridiculous. I'm capable of dealing with this myself. I've just not taken the time to do so.
Then you are lucky that I have taken the time to do so. Consider it a gesture of solidarity between professionals.
I wish this hospital could have received as much attention from you, Dr. Reed. We do not see you in surgery very often.
Você pergunta pra cacete pra esse cara, né? Ele não vai me
Thank you
liberar
for your
informações
time.
privilegiadas.
We'll talk later.
Good evening, sir.
Quem que
Good
é tu?
evening, Doctor. I believe we're going to be working together.
Dr. Reed. Dr. Swansea informed us of your arrival, but I could not dare to believe we'd have such good fortune. Such an honor, sir.
Thank you. And you are?
I am Thoreau Strickland.
Thoreau
Dr.
Strickland.
Thoreau Strickland.
True.
I'm a great admirer of your work, Dr. Reed.
Can you tell me anything about the recent commotion in the hospital?
I'm sure it was not your fault, Dr. Reed.
My fault? What do you mean?
Oh, nothing. It's just... I heard it was you who brought the murderer inside our walls.
Já tão...
But you couldn't know, could you?
Esse cara já tá inseminando coisas loucas sobre minha pessoa, mano.
Please, could you tell me something about yourself?
I'm a great admirer of your work concerning blood transfusion, Dr. Reed. I run my own experiments. I'm convinced it's the future.
O que você fez? O que você escolheu pra carreira? Vou
What made
perguntar.
you choose to be a
Dá pra
doctor?
nós perguntar
I'm
os
not
dois?
ashamed to admit you and your work have inspired me. I am honored to have the opportunity to work by your side.
Ah, não vai dar pra escolher as duas. Ah. Será que será um prazer ajudar? Que esses trabalhos de bajulações são inúteis.
It's always a pleasure to share scientific and medical knowledge with someone eager to learn. I'll be glad to help you if I can.
This epidemic may be the century's most terrible disaster, but I'm convinced that we, as doctors, are the only ones able to defeat it.
I based my technique on my mentor's research. He helped me perfect my method. What is yours?
I'd rather not talk about it. For now, it's just theories and first approach.
Theory.
My process is purely experimental and unsuccessful.
As long as you're cautious and methodical, you may remain empty-handed, but you won't fail.
You're not the first one to warn me, but I am convinced knowledge is the main weapon against the ravages of this epidemic.
What do you think of Dr. Ackroyd's aversion to modern medical methods?
It's a shame he's so narrow-minded. Dr. Swansea taught me that science is about exploring uncharted territory. I'm convinced that's true.
With the influenza and all that's going on, you should put your differences aside, don't you think? Why is it so difficult to work together?
I believe that if Dr. Ackroyd had been the one to discover the transfusion process, he would be the first to recommend its use.
So you believe it's just a question of jealousy and pride?
Dr. Ackroyd is as proud as he is blinded by his obsolete concept of medical science.
Eu fui humilde com esse cara,
What can you
hein?
tell me about the Pembroke?
Well, it has always been an honor to work with Dr. Swansea. But with your arrival, I can't think of
Fui
a
humilde
better
pra caralho,
opportunity
cara.
to learn about blood transfusion.
You seem quite optimistic. It's a rare and precious attitude in these difficult times.
I'm convinced that this epidemic is a test of endurance and dedication for us men of science.
Questions remain about our capacity to resolve the situation.
True. Last summer, during the first wave of the epidemic, I used to joke with Milton about the extra work. We're not smiling now.
Do you need help with anything in particular?
Well, yes, maybe. I'm waiting for a batch of products I ordered for my personal research, yet my supplier seems to have vanished.
Do you want me to play the errand boy for you?
Oh no, Dr. Reed. But if you went personally to his shop, what with your reputation and all, he wouldn't dare to refuse the products I need.
I see. Well, give me the address, for I may pass by if I have time.
Nova investigação. Tem que investigar a pipa porque ela é.
Tell me more about your willingness to experiment with new medical techniques.
Harvey Fiddick is a patient suffering from a severe injury that could cripple him if not treated correctly. I'm convinced your blood transfusion technique could help him.
What is it you really want? To save him, or to prove your point?
Fair question. I want nothing but to save my patient, Dr. Reed. Especially since I know Mr. Fiddick's story.
Tell me Mr. Fiddick's story.
Our first diagnosis was compromised because Mr. Fiddick lied to us about the real origin of his injury. He first claimed it was an accident.
But why would he hide such crucial information from us?
Because he is a proud father, ashamed of putting his children at risk because of his own negligence.
This personal
Agora vamos conversar com esse
could
cara.
also appear to be a lack of impartiality. You must know that a good surgeon must remain neutral.
I agree. But that does not excuse Dr. Ackroyd's behavior, a man who did not even take time to converse with his patient.
Do you think keeping his distance was a mistake?
All I know is that I'm taking care of human beings with desires, hopes, and fears. Not some biological machine comprised of blood, bones, and flesh.
Bom.
Goodbye, Dr. Strickland.
Como assim, meu birreiro? Preciso achar os outros, mano. Ah, tem um cara. Aqui. Beba essa every night.
Good evening, Doctor. How is my son doing?
Do you require medical attention as well, Mrs. Goswick?
Do you know you're the only one who's asked me this? No, I don't feel well, actually.
Despite what you think about this place, I can tell you with absolute certainty, taking this will help you recover.
Well, at least your reputation seems well deserved. Unfortunately, I can't say the same for this hospital.
Que foda, hein?
Goodbye, Mrs. Goswick.
Como assim, Godric? É esse mano aqui que é o carinha? Fala esse cara.
Good evening, sir. I'm Dr. Reed. May I help you?
I don't know if a third opinion is needed. Your colleagues are already arguing about my condition.
I see.
Entendi.
Would you mind telling me more about your situation?
I'm Harvey Fiddick. All I want is to get me bloody arm fixed properly.
Tell me about your injury, Harvey. Why do you feel so guilty about it?
My wife died because of me. And now I may lose everything because I've been careless enough to hurt myself. What an arsehole.
You can't hold yourself responsible for your injury, Mr. Fiddick. Unless you tried to hurt yourself.
Of course I didn't hurt myself. But I can't work until my arm is fixed. My children need to eat, Doctor.
How could your job be responsible for your wife's death?
I was working a double. She went out to bring me a hot meal and got caught in a German bomb raid.
Oh, aí é foda, hein?
Tell me more about the death of your wife, Harvey.
1915. I was in the army. Building workshops for the Royal Flying Corps.
Oh.
Helen was happy I wasn't sent to the front.
What happened?
The Germans sent Zeppelins to bomb the construction site, but they missed their target. My wife was bringing my dinner when the bombs fell.
Que foda, hein? Então, se morrendo aqui.
How are your children after losing their mother?
They were smaller then. The only good thing about this is my Helen didn't bring them with her that night.
I'm sorry for your loss. So many died during the bombings. I served in France and witnessed the carnage there.
I would like to say that she didn't suffer. Truth is, I have no idea. I just know that I'm all that me kids have. Poor little bleeders.
Is there anything else that's bothering you? Can I help in any way?
Really? Why has no one else asked me that since I got here? I thought I was in a hospital.
Não tem remédio pra fadiga mais.
I will see you later. Goodbye for now, Mr. Fiddick. I'll see you later.
My sweet girl. Reads me like a book.
Acabou meu remédio pra fadiga, meu. Ó, remédio pra fadiga. Ó, 1, 2, 3. 3. Foi 3 remédios pra fadiga. Se eu tiver os componentes necessários. Fadiga. A gente tem que fazer missão secundárias também. Não sei porque eu dou essa volta, mano. Sendo que aqui do lado aqui é aberto. Não é trouxa mesmo. Aqui acesso para necrotarials. A mulher pulando frame lá atrás lá. Ah, não dá pra mim mostrar. Mulher pulando frame lá atrás. Ela tá além dos frames padrões. Dos frames padrões.
Good evening, Mr. Fiddick.
Good evening, Dr. Reed. Any news about my operation?
Is there anything else that's bothering you? Can I help in any way?
Really? Why has no one else asked me that since I got here? I thought I was in a hospital.
Unfortunately, you are not the only person who needs help. And complaining about it won't do you any good.
Well, perhaps you're right, Dr. Reed. I'm sure if me missus was still alive, she wouldn't be happy with me going on like this.
Oh.
Please, tell me about the recent commotion in the hospital.
I heard Miss Jones call for help from her bedroom. There were some loud noises, like people fighting. All of a sudden, it went quiet. And then the nurse started screaming.
Do you know who the nurse was?
Not sure, but I think it was Nurse Hawkins.
Tell me more about the death
Eu já
of your
perguntei,
wife,
mas
Harvey.
bugou pra mim.
1915. I was in the army, building workshops for the Royal Flying Corps. Helen was happy I wasn't sent to the front.
What happened?
The Germans sent Zeppelins to bomb the construction site, but they missed their target. My wife was cooking my dinner when the bombs fell.
Ah, eu já perguntei tudo, mano. Esse cara tá mostrando. Agora saiu. Tá bom.
Goodbye for now, Mr. Fiddick. I'll see you later.
You always knew the words to calm the children, Helen.
Tá. Agora falta o cara da ambulância. Eu não sei quem que é esse cara. Acho que é o cara que tava na ponte, né? Debaixo da ponte lá.
As for me,
Não sabe, cara. A pipa. Desconhecido. Lady Ashbury.
Good evening, Milton.
Good evening, Doctor. Still trying to save lives?
Do you need any medical help?
Muita gente ficou sobrecarregada.
Like everyone in this hospital. It's a sad state of affairs when even the hospital workers are worried about disease.
Our job brings us into contact with all kinds of infections, Milton. There's no shame in being ill while you're in a hospital.
That's easy for you to say, Doctor. I get the feeling you don't fall sick often. But thanks anyway.
Goodbye, Milton.
Eu achar a mulher. Aqui, ó. Tá aqui, pô. Não é a pipa, não, né?
Good evening, Nurse Brannigan.
Good evening, Doctor.
Do you require medical assistance, nurse?
I will be fine. As soon as I can get some sleep.
Mas
Nurse, you won't be able to help people if you're sick. Take this, and do try to get some rest.
I'll try, Dr. Reed. Thank you.
Goodbye, nurse.
Use this.
Call me if you need assistance.
Tá. E o outro humano fica ali, né? Ergotamina. Ai, cara, travou aqui. Ergotamina. É esse mano aqui mesmo.
Hello again, Mr. Blight. I'm happy to see Mr. Thatcher is safe, for now.
I'm eternally grateful, Doctor. We were total strangers and you helped us anyway. Can't thank you enough, sir.
Do you need medical
Eu tenho
attention, sir?
sim, eu deveria saber quem é esse cara.
In the war, I was always worried about picking up something, getting some infection. Unfortunately, got that fear in London now.
Throughout history, some diseases have done more damage to armies than any weapon created by man. You were wise to be careful.
You're working at the Pembroke Hospital, aren't you? That's a good enough reason for me and Oswald to go there.
What caused your phobia of rats, Newton?
It happened last year following an artillery attack. I was trapped for 2 days in a hole under 2 dead soldiers. And there were rats.
Go on.
It started eating me as soon as I dozed. Gnawing at my ears, my fingers, lips. I couldn't move. Couldn't call for help.
I see.
No, you don't. You have no idea what it is to wake up buried under bodies. Fucking vermin eating your flesh.
Não sei.
Oswald. He found me and saved me.
Eu não faço a mínima ideia do que é isso, meu guerreiro.
What can you tell me about the war, Mr.
Faço a
Blight?
mínima ideia de
If
que
you
é
want to
isso.
speak about it, of course.
War was... Well, you know, sir. The stench of death everywhere. Your mates lying bleeding in the mud. Just praying to make it through and get home. Bloody nightmare.
Did you know Oswald Thatcher before the war?
No. We met in the battlefield. I think we're in the same boat to France. We've stuck together ever since.
I fought in France, too. I served as a field surgeon, but it was not uncommon to repel an assault, especially at night.
Yeah. The first time I was wounded, I had to protect the infirmary from hostiles. Twice.
Goodbye, Mr. Blight. Take care of yourself.
Eu vou meter um X1 contra os caras que estavam aqui do lado aqui, ver se eu consigo fazer alguma coisa. Assim, eu quero muita gente, velho.
I'd head back if I were you, some steady boys.
Eu usei meu sangue. Nossa, os caras estavam fracos pra cacete.
Blood. This is despicable.
This is despicable. Mano, achei que esse cara ia estar muito mais forte, mano. Eu me preparei pra nada, velho. Isso que é foda, hein, meu guerra. Opa! O bom do negócio é que ele tá. O cara. O cara perde. O cara dropando frame lá, ó. O cara anda dropando frame, mano. As ideias. Nível 17. Eu errei. Ai. É a Sierra. Mano, já tô cansado de achar que tem arma nos corpos, velho.
There's one of them! That's gonna hurt!
Ford is bloody. Porra. Porra. Aí é foda, hein? Onde tá esse bicho? Não tá falando. Olha esse barulhinho. Tem um cara aqui. Um Skull aqui, mano. Tem outro Skull ali na frente. Nível 16. Tô apertando errado. Eu sou trouxa. Porra! Ford is bloody. Oxi. Mano, não vai pegar o negocinho que ele dropou não, moço. Oxi. Não, calma assim então. Pegou um do nada aqui. Esse é o famigerado figurante. Ai, ai. Agora deu. Ah, não dá pra pegar no meio da fight, né? Poxa, pronto. Oi, bloody. You think I do. Conhecido e desconhecida, parte 1, parte 2.
In the meantime, the boys are waiting for us.
Mark my words. These murders are the work of a vampire.
A vampire?
Good evening, miss. I'm Dr. Reed. May I ask you a few questions?
Who are you? What do you want?
As I just told you, I'm a doctor. From the Pembroke Hospital, actually.
The Pembroke Hospital, you say? I don't have any money for you leeches.
I'm not here for charity, Miss...
Miss Edwina Cox. So what do you want then? Fancy buying something from me, mate?
I'm looking for Mr. Sean Hampton. Do you know where I could find him?
The sad saint? I heard he was mugged or something.
Yes, he was. But he left hospital recently.
You don't say. Well, I suppose it's good news for the homeless and the useless. Ask them, they must know something.
Can I see what you have to sell?
As long as you have money, I'll show you all I have.
Dava desse aqui só que nível. Pilar, Sean Hampton. Sean Hampton é aquele cara lá que tava ali, né? Certeza.
Not a drop of blood left in his body. This is the work of a vampire.
Vampyr.
Good evening, sir. Have you witnessed any suspicious activity or strange events recently?
And what do you define as a strange event? More to the point, who are you?
My name is Ichabod
Throgmorton.
Vampire hunter extraordinaire and warden of the East End.
A vampire hunter? Really?
I know what you're thinking. I'm just another lunatic howling at the moon, but I'm not. The bloodsuckers exist. And they're close.
Mr. Throgmorton, I'm Dr. Jonathan Reed. I'd like to hear more about these vampires you're hunting.
A man of science? Well, I'll be glad to enlighten you.
I'm looking for Sean Hampton. Can you help me, Mr. Throgmorton?
The sad saint?
O santo
He should
deles.
be at his night asylum at this hour, but I cannot tell you how to find it, sorry.
Really? Why is that?
It's nothing personal, Doctor. I'm sure your intentions are good, but people who sleep there, they have plenty of reasons to hide.
Quem pode ajudar a achar?
Maybe at least you can tell me who could help me find him.
Tell you what, go and chat with Tom Watts. He's a bartender and good judge of character. If he talks to you, then it's fine by me.
I could make you tell me, but I respect your refusal. You really believe Sean is a saint, don't you?
All I will say is this. Gossip has it that when he was a child, he was molested. By a priest of all people. Funny thing is, though, it only strengthened his faith.
Have you heard of the Guard of Priwen?
Of course. They're dedicated hunters. A little militant for my taste.
Militantes, é o povo do
They do
Twitter.
let anyone join.
So you hunt alone? That sounds risky.
Vampires are just like every other predator. They hunt when they're hungry and follow certain patterns. It's just a matter of observation and patience.
Were you ever tempted to join the Guard yourself?
I did think about it, but I'm more of a silent hunter. They're more of a sanitary militia.
What can you tell me about this neighborhood?
Did you hear about what happened to Jack Gillingham? Poor boy. It's a shame I wasn't around to protect him.
It's impossible to protect everyone. The violence seems endemic in this part of town.
But it's my duty. I am convinced Jack Gillingham was killed by a vampire. These evil rodents are spreading like a plague.
Eu acredito que devia fazer nada de muito. Tem gente, hein?
So, how exactly are you protecting these people? I'm curious.
I patrol late at night, investigating anything unusual. I try and encourage people to stay indoors, but people are careless.
Eu vou... Tá.
How do you identify a vampire?
It's simple, really. They can't stand daylight. They're afraid of garlic and holy symbols. They also cannot enter a house without being invited.
Have you ever killed one of these creatures? Yourself, I mean.
Of course I have. What kind of question is that? It's a dirty business, believe me.
Can I help in any way?
Actually, yes. I plan to put up posters to alert the population to the vampire threat.
Are you asking me to paste posters about vampires around the docks?
If you wouldn't mind. If you did that, then I can focus on my patrols.
Goodbye.
É a segunda missão secundária que eu
Good
tenho pra
hunting,
fazer.
Mr. Throckmorton.
Ainda, né? Toda vez que eu chego num lugar, fica horrível o estado. Ah, aqui foi onde nós resolveu o primeiro intrínseca, primeiro problema. Não sei o que eu tô falando mais. Ah, aqui é o barzinho, a porta do barzinho fechou.
Perhaps I should shut the turquoise for a time.
Eu tinha começado a resolver os problemas dessas docas aqui. Ia ser da hora se tivesse viagem rápida, né?
Good evening, sir.
Who the fuck are you? Don't you see I'm busy here?
Dr. Jonathan Reed, that's who I am. And who are you?
Ah, some fancy gentleman we've got here. Clear off. We don't want strangers on our streets.
So you won't tell me your name, then?
The name is Booth Digby. Maybe I'll ask my boys to break one or two of your bones, just so you remember it.
Do you know where I can find Sean Hampton? I need to talk to him.
The sad saint. Why on earth do you want to talk to him?
He was one of my patients at the Pembroke Hospital.
Oh, yeah. I heard the poor bastard had been abducted by some cunt. You better ask Tom Watts. He knows Sean Hampton well.
Tom. Tal de Tom.
Are you some kind of vigilante patrolling these streets at night?
Something like that, but the police aren't in charge here. We are, see?
So you're a concerned criminal, is that it?
Using funny jokes about me and my boys, are you? Fuck. You must have some balls.
I saw many men like you during the war, Mr. Digby. Greedy little cockroaches who feed on despair.
I could kill you for saying that. But, nah. You've been a soldier. I can respect that.
So, tell me about your
Os
gang.
butineiros.
What? Have you got a death wish? You really want me to answer that?
Well, yes. You seem so proud of your status. Why not tell me who you're working for?
Oi! I'm the boss, all right? The Wet Boot Boys work for me. All of them. Situation round here is better than other districts because of us. Because of me.
Os butineiros.
What can you tell me about this part of town?
Things ain't that bad, thanks to us. We give people what they need, and we control this borough.
Well, you're not doing a very good job. People are still dying here like everywhere else.
Yeah, well, we can't be everywhere all the time. And Edwina says if we can find more guns, we could be more efficient.
More efficient? Really? You should probably tell Edwina that guns are useless against diseases and infections.
Incredible. You know what? You're lucky she can't hear you right now. She's more smart than patient. My sweet queen of the docks.
Bot pode estar apaixonado por Edwina Cox, mas ela é a verdadeira líder da gangue. Então é a Edwina. Ela é parente do Cox que morreu? Ou sei lá o que Cox? Não existe um Cox falecido aqui, ó. Clay Cox. Clay Cox. A Loreta tá morrente. Fadiga. Fadiga, fadiga. Nevralgia. Resfriado, fadiga. Tá. Pois pronto.
Goodbye, Mr. Digby.
Vou pegar um cafezinho, com todo respeito, hein. Com todo respeito, hein. Merda. Eita, careca. Eca, teca. Com todo respeito, hein.
For now, everything seems under control, more or less.
Conversa aqui um momentinho.
Hello, boy.
Hello. Good evening.
Did I scare you? You have nothing to fear from me.
No, it's just that people prefer to avoid me.
Well, I won't. I'm a doctor.
My name is Rufus, sir. Rufus Kingsbury.
Oh, Rufus Kingsbury.
Are you alone? Where is your family?
I don't have any. My parents are dead.
So you have no home? You're sleeping rough?
No. I mean, yes. I live on the streets. I have no home.
We're all truly alone in this world. You're lucky you learnt that early.
Well, I've known worse. I'm not all alone. I have Mrs. Fishburne. She's been very kind to me.
Why do you think she's so considerate?
I can't say, sir. I guess she's a good soul. Sometimes it's like she replaces the mother I lost, even if we're not related.
Ah, Stella Fishburne. Mas parece velho na foto.
What can you tell me about this region?
It's all about staying out of trouble. But since most people prefer to avoid me, it's pretty easy.
E evitam você, já pensou em ir embora?
Have you ever thought about leaving?
Where else would I go? At least I know these streets and some people around here. This is my city, for better or worse.
Porque o povo é foda, né, mano? Por exemplo, lá, eu ir pra Whitechapel não tem como. A pessoa tem que saber fazer o trampinho bacaninha.
Why do people avoid you?
They call me Rufus the Curse. Around here, I'm a bit of a bad luck charm.
Foda, hein, meu guerreiro?
What do you do around here, Rufus?
I listen to the news on the docks, sir. And I smile at those kind enough to spare me a bob.
Você trabalha? Algum boato recente?
Do you have a
Você
job?
trabalha?
It's hard to work, what with my head and all. Since I was a boy, I've always had trouble remembering what I do and why I do it.
What do people say about this place?
Things have been tense between the Wet Boot Boys and the Communists. They both feel they should run the docks.
Os botineiros.
Do you know a man who lives in this part of town? A man named Sean Hampton. I'm looking for him.
Sorry, sir. I don't know a lot of folks around here. Most prefer to avoid me.
Well, I don't think you should talk to him. He may be very sick.
Thanks for the tip. You might want to check the Turquoise Turtle. It's a pub not far from here. The barkeep knows everyone in these parts.
Ah, então vou ter que
So
conversar.
long, Rufus. Be careful. Take care.
Tem que conversar com o carinha da negócio, mano.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening. Why must it always be a good evening?
I was just being polite. I'm Dr. Reed.
I'm Dr.
I'd like to
Reed.
ask you some questions, if
Não
I may.
pode.
Don't like questions or doctors. And the name is Seymour Fishburne, if you must know.
Ah, então você é parente da mulher lá.
What can you tell me about this part of town?
A shithole filled with maggots.
Okay.
Liars and thieves, all of them.
Is there no one who deserves your leniency, then?
Well, Tom from our local is somewhat of a decent bloke. At least, unlike most maggots, he knows how to listen without opening his trap.
Are you thinking about someone in particular?
No. Hate them all. Especially these petty, whining little
Que
shitbag beggars.
isso, cara?
What's your occupation?
I take care of my mum. It's what I do. She's the only good thing in my life. Even though I don't treat her so good.
You seem upset. Is something bothering you?
I lost the necklace I bought her. I'm a fucking idiot. A worthless idiot.
Ah, investigação. Missão secundária.
Sometimes it's hard to be a good son.
I just wanted to smile. No, I was thankful for her patience, appreciated like... God knows she deserves it.
Any chance you can help me find Sean Hampton?
The sad saint. Why would you talk to that cunt?
Actually, that's confidential.
Really? Well, go ask someone else then. I'm sure Tom Watts will gladly answer you.
Goodbye, Mr. Fishburne.
O Tom eu acho que é o dono do bar, né, mano? Tipo, pá. Tá com o quê? Anemia? Eu tenho um remédio pra anemia? Não vou estar tendo.
Evening, Rufus.
Evening, Mr. Reed.
Do you need help?
A real doctor caring about me. That's a first. I feel like a real person.
Eu não tenho remédio pra anemia, infelizmente,
I'll see
Miguel.
you later. So long, Rufus. Be careful. Take care.
Eu tenho que achar onde é que fica a minha safe room aqui, mano.
It's locked.
Pois eu sei onde é que tá a minha safe room, porra. Eu já achei, né? O Rufus parece gente da hora, hein, mano. Anemia. Coitado do Rufus, mano. Esse é o Tom? É, o Tom Watts é o dono do bar. Ou pelo menos o cara que entrega as bebidas, né? Tá. Vou começar a conectar pessoas a pessoas. O Rufus já sumiu já.
Evening, Rufus.
Evening, Mr. Reed.
Do you need help?
A real doctor caring about me. That's a first. I feel like a real person.
The real doctor treats everyone the same, Rufus.
I don't know what to say. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
So long, Rufus. Be careful. Take care.
Tá. Uma porta aqui que dava pra abrir, que dava pra fazer alguma coisa.
Good evening, madam. I'm Dr. Reed. Could I come in?
Why? What do you want?
I work at the Pembroke Hospital. I'm investigating the flu epidemic in this area.
Oh, the Spanish flu. Well, that's quite liberal of you, Doctor. But this is no time to be knocking at people's doors.
The disease takes away the good people too, madam. Why not let me in?
It's Mrs. Fishburne. Stella Fishburne. And yes, indeed. Why not let a doctor in?
Altamente muito fraca.
sir. Gentlemen are easy targets in these parts.
Achei mola. Hold. Baby.
It's locked, all right.
So you have questions about the flu, then?
Yes, among other things.
Forgive my rudeness at the door. It's just my son doesn't like strangers coming in the house.
I'm trying to locate Mr. Sean Hampton. Do you know where he could be?
You talking about the one everyone calls the Sad Saint? The man who takes care of the homeless?
The very same, Miss Fishburne.
I'm sorry. I don't know where his shelter is. But if you ask around, I'm sure you'll get your answer.
The orphan that regards you as a mother. Please tell me about him, Stella.
You mean Rufus? I wish I could do even more for the poor boy. Most people are so selfish.
But you're not.
Years may have passed, but I haven't forgotten how it feels to go through days with nothing but an empty stomach.
May I ask what you do for a living, Mrs. Fishburne?
Since my husband died, I worked at the Dawson Rope Factory, but it closed before the war. I occasionally help at the night asylum, in exchange for food.
Did your husband die in the war?
Oh no, my Jack was a docker. He died when my Seymour was just a lad. The poor boy saw his dad slip and fall from that
Ah,
scaffolding.
tá. Eu achei que eu não estava que tava morto na cripta.
How do you pay the rent, then?
My Seymour works at the docks, just like his dad. He's very attached to the house he grew up in. It's not always easy, but we get by all right.
How is life around here?
Life has always been hard in the East End. But it's everywhere nowadays, isn't it?
Epidemia gera violência.
Do you think the increase in violence has anything to do with the epidemic?
Don't know. But it's most likely linked to the gangs, if you ask me. Recently, it's like everyone has had to pick a side.
Violence has always fed on poverty, don't you think? It's a cruel law of the human condition.
And selfishness is their rotten fruit. These days, you could just die in the gutter and no one will bat an eye.
Requer pistas, tá.
Goodbye, Miss Fishburne. Take care of yourself.
Como assim, minha guerreira? Acho que eu tinha perguntado tudo que tinha pra perguntar pro cara, né?
Are they stupid or something?
Shelling. Shelling.
I cannot enter.
Me dá a volta então, tá?
I think I'm losing my mind. I should just run as far away from this place as I can.
So few clients. What with the epidemic, no one dares go outside.
Good evening, Tom.
Good evening, sir. How are you tonight? Back to the docks, are we?
You remember me then?
Of course I do. You're that man who seemed so lost when he entered my bar a few nights ago.
Thank you for your hospitality. I'm Jonathan Reed, by the way.
I'm still Tom Watts. Welcome back, Doctor.
Continuo sendo.
What can you tell me about this part of town?
It's not that bad. Thanks to people like the sad saint of the East End.
Who?
Sean Hampton, our own private holy figure. Few are foolish enough to make peace with the gangs. Sean is one of them.
Como consegue manter este lugar aberto?
How is it you can keep this place open? This part of town doesn't seem particularly safe.
Well, since everybody needs a drink, my pub is considered neutral ground by most groups.
I see. So you get pressure from all sides about how this place should be run, do you?
Well, something like that. Nothing that a few wise words and a bottle of gin can't solve.
Você é figurão.
You're something of a figurehead around here.
I'm only pouring alcohol for everyone to forget their troubles. Sean Hampton is the one giving them long-term hope.
What can you tell me about this part of town?
It's not that bad. Thanks to people like the sad saint of the East End.
Who?
Sean Hampton, our own private holy figure. Few are foolish enough to make peace with the gangs. Sean is one of them.
How is it you can keep this place open? This part of town doesn't seem particularly safe.
Well, since everybody needs a drink, my pub is considered neutral ground by most groups.
Since I'm here, is there anything I can do?
Perhaps, Doctor. Peace partly depends on my stock of gin. With the epidemic, my supplies are running low.
How could a physician help you in this matter?
I have a small warehouse just past the quarantine line. Perhaps, with you being a doctor, you could go there and come back?
Doctors aren't immune to disease, you know. Very well. Show me where it is. I'll see what I can do.
Oh,
Não, tô liberando muita
Here's
missão
the key to
secundária.
get in. You're about to save many dry throats.
Tô com já pra cacete também, né?
Tom, I need to find Sean Hampton as quickly as possible. I've been told you could help me.
I heard the sad saint was recovering at Pembroke Hospital. Did he leave or something?
I believe he returned to his flock. Can you confirm that?
Oh, I bet you're right. Sean can't help but worry about the poor and sick. Oh, I guess it has something to do with what happened to him as a baby.
Please, tell me.
Well, I don't like to gossip, but I heard that the sad saint was abandoned as a baby in front of a Catholic orphanage in Dublin. That would explain his faith and need to help everyone.
The important thing is I find him, quickly.
Why not try his night asylum? He takes care of those who need a meal or a roof there.
Where is it?
It's in an old warehouse, northwest of here. Just follow the bank to the west and go north when you reach the end of the pier.
Goodbye, Mr. Watts.
Meteu a informação privilegiais. Eu vou fazer a missão secundária, mano. Se foda. Eu tô percebendo que eu tô juntando muita missão secundária e eu não tô completando nenhuma, mano. Eu tô percebendo, é isso que eu tô percebendo. Tá porra.
Perhaps we should have listened to what the idiot had to say first.
Achei que ele tava atirando em alguém, velho. Não tem pra onde eu ir, né?
It's locked, all right.
Tá. O que era pra ser aqui? Carta de apresentação. Olá, Frank. Como vai, meu velho amigo? Meu velho amigo. Como vai, meu velho amigo? Foi bom te ver semana passada. Da próxima vez, deixa eu fazer as honras. Espero que esteja tudo bem aí no seu canto da cidade. Aqui no meu... Peraí. Aqui no meu velho bairro, a situação está cada vez pior. Clay está ficando cada vez mais violento. E só pensa em expandir os negócios, mesmo que cada vez mais concorrentes tenham aparecido para disputar o território. Infelizmente, os botineiros estão em uma enrascada. Eu lembrei do que você disse a última vez que nos encontramos, que nunca se arrependeu de sair da gangue. Você disse que a única coisa de que se arrependia era de não poder voltar a East End. Caso contrário, ia levar uma boa surra ou algo pior. Bom, mas eu te garanto que se você quiser vir, ficará sob minha proteção. Quem sabe a gente pode até conversar sobre as novas oportunidades. Talvez um emprego. Talvez um emprego? Você sabe que eu sempre fui bom com números, então se você estiver precisando de um contador na sua empresa, podemos conversar, não é? Me diga que mandei um olá à sua esposa. Uma vez botineiro, sempre botineiro, meu velho amigo. Boss Digby. Bop. Aqui. Carta de apresentação, chave da página arrancada de diário. Eu não li isso, meu. Eu me odeio por desviar o olhar quando zombavam da minha cor. Eu me odeio por chorar como uma menininha quando me insultam. Eu me odeio por xingá-los feito moleque quando se afastam. Eu me odeio por odiar meu país. Meus pais. O cara não sabe a acentuação. Eu me odeio por odiar meus pais. Eu me odeio por sorrir quando clientes me chamam de Brina triste. Eu me odeio por nunca ter tido coragem de dizer para o Tom como me sinto. Tá, carta para a enfermeira Crane. Tá. Li. Carta para Darius Petrescu. Li também. Carta para... Li também. Carta da enfermeira Crane. Li também. Carta da enfermeira Crane. Tá. Prontuário T. Eldon. Paciente Thomas Eldwood, sexo masculino, 28 anos. Médico responsável, Dr. Tippett. Estado em recuperação. Data de admissão, 16 de setembro. Data de liberação, a ser definida. Observação. O rosto do paciente sofreu queimaduras graves e foi desfigurado por uma bomba durante a guerra. Mesmo com o uso de sedativos fortes, ele afirma frequentemente sentir dores das feridas, como se as chamas ainda queimassem sobre a pele. Segundo o que diz, exame de tecido cicatrizado não indica traços de inflamação, infecção ou inchaço. As cicatrizes estão limpas. Seria este um caso de dano persistente aos nervos? O paciente está sempre se culpando pela própria desfiguração. Poderia ser o caso de culpa do sobrevivente. Culpa do sobrevivente? Dores fantasma manifestando-se como punição por não morrer com seus companheiros? A presença de óbito, escritório médico legista do Stolpenbrook. Veja o resumo. Falecimento, Samuel Connor. Raça caucasiana, eu acho que isso aqui. Necrotério, fotografia na carteira da mulher lá, né?
So, Mr. Hooks and Nurse Hawkins are an item. Those two have hidden their affections well.
Artigo sobre Eccles. Falando sobre o barulho. Ordens do Tercatica. Esse aqui é o que? Diário ensanguentado. Esse aqui eu li também. Primeira coisa que eu li. Tá. Bot apaixonado. Gatica, bot já tentou encontrar um emprego para sair de detineus. Sabrina esconde que realmente sente sobre Tom Watt, seu chefe. Oxi. Thomas Elwood. Ah, aquele cara que fica no canto. Thomas sente responsável pelas inspirações na guerra. Ou recebi. Ah, eu li, né, mano? Resolvi meter uma leitura, se foda.